We are here for full celebration. This is a beautiful day. It's a day when we get to celebrate all the cool things that the kids are making, that they're learning about, things that they're writing about. We get to see things that the kids are making that are relevant to them, and we get to see it firsthand. It's I think one thing to kind of, it's a valid platform to see it online, maybe Facebook, maybe Twitter, something like that. Maybe hear about it from a friend in conversation, but when you get to see everyone in a group setting like this, and they're pointing, they're looking, you see it firsthand, it's a whole other experience. And I think you kind of see that. I mean, you can just see it in the students when they're checking out stuff that their friends have made. Like, oh, I knew they were working on that for freaking 2 months. We're here to kind of celebrate all the things that they're making, that they've been working on. Well, I think first of all, it's important because, I think that it's cool to know that students, young people, kids, if you will, can accomplish stuff that's this cool, this thoughtful, this purposeful. It kind of makes you stand back and realize sometimes when the kids are making this stuff, they don't realize how cool it is. You're just caught up and you've got this sort of like tunnel vision. You're working out. You've got these sort of little feats that you've got to work through, and you've got problems. And sometimes it's nice to just kind of put it in a nice light, back up and see it from a different perspective. Sometimes when you have family and friends and they're in awe and they're seeing it with fresh eyes, sometimes the artist kind of get that moment of like, it just clicks, like, yeah, I made that, I did that. When we write these artist statements, for example, a lot of times students will say, well, I don't know what this piece is about. Like, I didn't know how this came about. Like, I didn't know I was going to make this. And it's like, that to me is the beauty. It's like, it's okay. That's not a cop-out. That to me makes it even more special, even more genuine. So now it's here. It got there. So subconsciously, consciously, whatever, through serendipitous sort of mark making, you chose these different vocabularies, this mark making, whatever. How did you get there? Anyway, so to me, it's kind of a nice day to sort of like step back, reflect, fresh eyes. You don't have to worry anymore about like, did I get the lips right? Or worry more about like the palette and like the mess and, oh my gosh, it's due. It's just like, it just is. Friends and family taking it in and enjoying it.
What do you think about when artists are not really satisfied with what they're showing?
I know that's personally something that I experience. I mean, I think artists, right, we're always our worst critic. There are some times when you see a piece, you step back, and maybe there's things you can enjoy, maybe there's other aspects where you just think, I didn't get the nose right, or I struggle with that part so much, and it still drives me crazy. And that's part of the process, and hopefully you can take that with a grain of salt, be realistic about it, and learn from that adverse sort of effect or whatever outcome. Hopefully you keep trekking along, and you just think to yourself, okay, I'm gonna do better next time. I'm gonna try something differently. Let's see if I can manipulate the material in a different way. If it didn't work this time, maybe this is not that personal. Maybe I want to go at it from a totally different angle. Why am I doing this figure to begin with? I don't even know the person. Who knows? So yeah, sometimes you put something there and you're not totally satisfied, and hopefully you can learn from that experience. So that's all part of it.
For you as a teacher, you're passionate about students going through that process and kind of like taking them through that.
Totally.
Yeah.
I'm obsessed with this. There's like so many different levels that I'm like really obsessed with in terms of this process. So like this kiddo right here, Naomi Smith, she's been doing this for 4 years now, and I mean, to some people maybe like that's forever. It's like, well, in the big scheme of things, like that's a relatively short period of time. But come on, I mean, freshman to senior year, that's a long time. Like that's an experience, 4 years. And it's kind of funny. I think if any of these kiddos, like this kiddo here, if she could have gone back in time and seen this when she was a freshman, she's a junior right now. I mean, I think how remarkable that would be, right? It would probably blow them away. Like, no way. Like, I could never do that, right? They all say, like, what? They just, like, stand there googly-eyed and point and then say, it's like this cliche over and over and over again. But they mean it, though. They're sincere when they say, I could never do that. It's like, yeah, yet, right? Yeah, yeah, duh, right? You don't speak Spanish either properly, right, yet, because you haven't taken Spanish class, right? It's the same kind of thing. And does it come easier for some of these kiddos than others? Sure, right? Has it come easier to some of my friends or some of my colleagues than me? Maybe, but whatever. But it's like, it's like, so if you like what you see, then just like get in where you fit in, try, and then stick with it, because it doesn't happen over. It's the same thing as like writing really well, right? It isn't like, you write an essay, like, okay, like good job, keep going. Like it's not gonna get, you're not gonna become a great writer, right? In one project, one essay, 1 month. It takes time. And I mean, that's the kind of thing that can be aggravating, but also like that's the beauty of it, right? Because time is sort of like compressed, and then also it's this abstract thing, and before you know it, you blink and you're like, I'm a senior. And I mean, you know, for lack of better terms too, it's just like, it's rad. Look what they're making. I mean, there's so much crazy talent here. There's so many kids that have been at this for years. So many talented kids that are hardworking, dedicated, and doing things that were like, you know, kids were like, Carter, were you this good? You know, it's like, was I this good in 1999? I don't think I'm this good now. Yeah, I mean, there's some rad freaking kids here. Yeah, it's pretty cool.
And I heard that some students are messing around with kind of like some mixed media stuff this year, more than usual.
Yeah, more than usual. That has been kind of a change. It's not the first time we've done it, but it's that is kind of a new trend. I've really been trying to, I mean, actually, I really think there's been students like Casper Pierce. He's been taking some really bold chances. Naomi Smith's another one. And they've kind of inspired this thing. You know, like Lauren Rost here, it's like we've just kind of been trying to get out of the bubble, our own little like pigeonhole box of like, what is a painting? Does it have to be two-dimensional? Does it have to be flat? Does it have to be acrylic on canvas? And the answer to all those things is no. And so, you know, I think when if it just feels random, it's contrived, and it just feels like, oh, I just like want to add something different, and you know, it doesn't mean it's going to necessarily make it better just because there's more involved in terms of materials. But when it works and enhances that experience in sort of this sort of poetic way that's also purposeful, I mean, it's just got this underlying content that's like, wham, it all, you know, comes together. And I think in terms of a viewer, it makes it more exciting for the person making it, because now it's like, well, I can do anything, right? Which is daunting, but also exciting. But as a viewer, as you navigate through the show, it's like, you know, I mean, you could see 100 paintings in a row, they're all phenomenal, but if they all kind of have the same sensibility about them, I think that can be a little bit tiresome for a viewer, right? So as an audience, as you cruise through and you don't know what to expect at any moment, it like keeps you on your toes. Like, whoa, what? And so there's definitely been, that's been one of our goals in the last few years, is to kind of push in that direction of understanding that it doesn't have to be 2D paint on paper, paint on canvas. Right? Anything can happen.
What is a painting?
What is a painting? Right. Yeah. Space, color, movement, composition, form, line. I mean, it's like all that stuff, but it's like, but what sort of materials and tools, and how do you want to use your hand to make that come to life? It's like, yeah, it's unlimited.
Yeah.
So we're scratching the surface. That's something that I think has been a bold change this year. One of the things they really want to see nationwide is kids not just producing things like an assembly line. Like, okay, you choose a theme. Let's say it's, the kids are always joking because I always use this example. Okay, it's like, my concentration is, portraits of my mother. Okay, so I do a portrait of my mother, another portrait of my mother. And guess what? My next piece is going to be portrait of my mother. And at some point, I think that can be tiresome and predictable for the artist, but for the audience as well. So they've actually decreased the number of works, but they want to really see that you're reflecting with each piece. So they don't want them to all be a piece of your mother. If you start with that, maybe there's a piece of material that showed up in here. You know, I mean, this is actually a good example. It's just kind of hypothetical. What if this student were to say, if Lauren were to be like, this was kind of wild, I took a chance, I didn't expect it, didn't know this was going to happen, it worked. What if on the next one, I'm going to go with this theme and I'm going to paint the whole dang thing right on a sheet itself? What if on the next one, like, that was pretty cool, can I get weirder, can I go move more in that direction in terms of giving you the sensibility of sleep or maybe lack of, or dreamscape, subconscious, domestic environment. Now I'm going to paint a portrait of my mother on the pillow, right? Anyways, and so you really what they want to see is rather than each one just being an assembly line of widgets that you're pumping out, are you reflecting with each one? Are you being conscious and purposely moving forward with the next piece based on the successes that you just had? In other words, are you really conscious and are you awake? Or are you just like, oh, I said I would do more pictures of my mother, so here they come?
I heard that you play cool music during what he's painting. So.
Yeah, we've always got, well, it's good that they say it's cool music. I try to switch it up. It's funny, I was actually thinking about keeping track of a list, I'm a little OCD like this, of kind of a record of the different music that we play. I try to switch it up. I think it was, my first year of teaching, they said, oh my God, Carter, if I hear Bob Marley one more day, I swear to God. Sometimes I paint without music, but that's really rare. I just tend to think that it makes the environment better, more relaxed. And studies show that, for most kind of academics, it's probably not ideal it's advantageous to have a quiet environment. I know a lot of times people that are used to music, they don't think that's true because it's not what they're used to, but that's true. Definitely somewhat true, I think, for language arts, definitely true for mathematics. And then when you've got words in the music, a friend of mine in Rome was telling me about how that makes a difference. But in any case, I think for the arts, for painting, I almost always have music going on in my studio when I'm painting. The idea is that if you get something groovy and it's not too, the kids are probably laughing right now because sometimes I get a little crazy and it matches my music. We like to play some Pantera. But anyways, if it's chill music, it can put you in the mood and just kind of get you into that zone where you're not even really thinking about the music. It's just subconscious in the background and you're in it.
Yeah, that happens to me when I'm doing art. I'm in art one with Wham.
Oh, right.
I listen to music. But like other things like math, I still listen to music, but it's so much harder to concentrate. Yeah. So.
Well, I think if you insist, then probably what would be ideal is music with no words. Right?
Yeah.
So whatever that may be, I don't know about Daft Punk, but anyways.
Love Daft Punk. I have posters of them there.
We went on a Daft Punk kick for the last couple of weeks here. We've been doing a lot of that.
I heard a lot of Bon Iver when I was coming in.
Oh man. I did so much Bon Iver in my own studio. We were doing that today, but I almost kind of played that out so much that I had to kind of exnate to Bon Iver for a while. But I've got there's a whole series of paintings at home that for about 6 months, I just did it to one album for Emma, just over and over and over.
For Emma, masterpiece.
Yeah.
Oh, this is Nick Drake, right? Pink Moon? And then how much time do you spend painting at home?
I try to paint every night. I had a good friend of mine, he's a painter, he said, it doesn't have to be good, it just has to be every day.
Need to finish this out.
Consistency.
Need to finish this out.
Is huge.
We have to finish this out.
Yeah. It's funny, if I go a few days without it, because schedule or whatever, because we're hanging a show, I start to get a little crazy, and my friends are like, hey man, you just need to paint. Take it easy. So but I try to paint every day. Oh man. Don't put yourself in a box. Don't judge yourself. If you think you suck, you're probably wrong. Or maybe you're right. But who cares? It's like, yeah, because you haven't done it yet. It's like, I'm no good at chess. Well, yeah, because how many games of chess have you played? Oh, a lot. Like what? 20? Like 120? Try 1,000. Then tell me you suck at chess. Or basketball.
Give it 10,000
or
hours.
running. Or whatever. Right.
Yeah,
10,000 hours, right? Okay, awesome.
Literally just what you were saying. Like that's our whole message.
It's great.
Yeah. So,
Positive
I don't know if
message.
you've seen her wear that or anything, but yeah, that's cool. Thanks for the interview.
Yeah, absolutely.
Have a good day.
Thanks, man.
How
I
was
love
your
how
night?
in the middle of the question back there, I'm like, okay, we're taking this a little seriously, and then he goes chomps on a piece of pizza. It's like, all right, bring it back down to
Casual. It's casual,
Screwed right now?
Yeah.
Okay.
Anti-box.